So I don't know where this makeup journey is gonna take us, but I know that I wanna use this palette. I feel like this, with this, it's speaking to me. So let's see where we go. So I've really been into this Milk makeup base because it's clear, and I like the idea of seeing our undertones kind of mixing in with the eyeshadow and peeking through underneath it, because a lot of times when we use these bases that basically blank out everything, I love it, still love that one, but I feel that it's really fun to kind of watch that shadow transform on our skin, especially shadows that are more see-through. And one of these from the palette, I'm going to show you, I'll swatch it on my cheek, but one of them from the palette is really transparent. So you're really going to be able to see my undertone and skin tone peeking through. It's still very important to make sure that this base is smoothed out completely across your lid. And because it is see-through, it can be a little tricky, but a really nice tip is to kind of start at your lash line smooth and then just move up in sections. I know that this seems, oh, who cares? It's so thin. It's gonna make such a difference if this base is completely smoothed out. It's gonna wear better, look better, all the betters. So here's a really fun eyeshadow tip. If you're feeling kind of stuck in a rut, grab the color that you would have used last. I probably would have used this last in the look. I'm gonna grab it first. Let's just go to town. We're gonna grab that on our C30 here. And then now I'm just gonna pull it towards the front. Oh, that's so pretty. Oh, I'm excited. Look at the flip. Oh, that's fun. This reminds me of MAC Blue Brown. Who remembers that? That color just fascinated me so much. Okay, that's pretty. Let's see where this goes now. Whenever I feel like my eyeshadow style is being a little repetitive and I'm just wanting the look to come out different, I feel like I do the same steps, and even if I'm using different colors, it comes out looking the exact same. So if I'm wanting to switch it up, this is a really good way to do that. Okay, this color next to it, it's not only speaking to me, it's screaming at me. We're gonna grab that on the same brush and we're gonna start to melt that over this way. I don't know how far I'm gonna take it over. Maybe I'll just take it, yeah, let's just go ahead and take it all the way over. But notice how when I open my eye, it's not creeping up here. We wanna leave that for the mattes. We're gonna do a little bit of shaping with the mattes. So let's not have those shimmers creep up too high. Just a little. Oh, that's a pretty color. I'm thinking a plummy situation. I'm gonna grab this mostly on the side and the tip of the brush. Trying to get this to focus. You can see it there. Now I want you to flip that towards the ceiling, and all you have to do is kind of tilt your head back and maybe look down a little bit, and then you're gonna find that socket and just push that plum in there. I feel like that's gonna be so pretty with the blue and the gold. Yes, I love it. Oh, it's so pretty. And now I'm still using that side. I'm just taking it out of the socket a little bit more to start to diffuse it. That is so pretty together. Everything's melting together like a dream. You can look down again to really find the socket, and then we can look up so we can see what we're doing. It's a really good tip to look down first to find the socket, then your brush will find it, and then you can just push it in there. Let me give you a little tip, actually it's a very big tip, about purple plum shadows. Anything that has purple in it, even if it's a brown and you can see purple in it, what I want you to do is I want you to switch to a smaller brush. I would have been fine with the one that is now missing, the one we were just using, but you probably find that these colors like this, anything with purple in it, it becomes patchy very quickly. So the best tip for that is to switch to a very small brush and use tiny little tapping motions. What's happening is these pigments, they're very, very delicate. Most purples, I don't care what brand, purple pigments are very delicate. So by using a smaller brush and a very light touch, we're not gonna run that risk of them becoming patchy because they want to become patchy. So switch to a smaller brush and use light tapping motions. Pairing formulas with brushes is so important. I feel like it's something we need to talk about more, and we will. So if you're new here, I have been doing this style of tutorial for many, many years. On my IG story, But I just thought that I'd switch and see what would happen. But I'm saying all that to say, if you're hearing snoring or snorting or just strange noises, what you're hearing is a very large and delicious orange cat named Jean. Now we're gonna grab some of this shade on that larger brush. I'm only gonna tap in one time, and it's important for you to know how many times we're tapping in, because we want to pick up a very small amount and just smooth this top part with the side of the brush and that beautiful transition shade. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Now I'm thinking we're going to use Plum. Let's do our lash line, really work it in there, and then I'm just going to shut my eye on this and kind of roll it back and forth, top and bottom. Just keep them with those plum tones. Let me give you a little tip on why your liner might not be lasting on your waterline. These types of gel liners, okay, they dry quickly. And once they set, and that means dry, and we're trying to go back over them, it's just kind of disturbing them. So what you want to look for is you want to look for something that's very pigmented in one swipe. This is not black, obviously it's plum, but that's a beautiful pigment. And I'm not having to go back and forth and just continue to layer to layer to layer to get what I want. Because the more I'm going back and forth, not only is it going to irritate the eye and make the eye water, but it's also just kind of going on top of it and lifting it. So that could be your problem. Let's do our Rokael Beauty lashes in Full Moon. I love these because they have a really pretty cat eye shape. And if I don't feel like doing a wing, it still kind of elongates my eye. Pinching it into the lash line. So let's try out this new Huda Beauty Corrector. Before I apply it under my eyes, I want to apply it on my cheeks so we can compare. So this one is called Pink Pomelo. And, ooh, this looks like a really nice concealer shade for me. I'm going to compare it to an actual pink brightener so you can kind of see that difference. It's important we see the difference, and I'm going to explain why. I'm not going to dive too deep, it can be confusing. So this here is also a pink corrector slash brightener. And when I say brightener, you know how we're doing the pink under eye? We love that brightening pink trend. This is not what that is. That is not a bad thing. I'm excited for this. But this type of pink is the one that gives us that pink powder brightness. And this one would go on top of concealer. And by this one, I mean this one. This one is going to go under concealer. So I can actually use two shades from Huda's new corrector line. I'm going to show you the shade Peach as well. I'm going to show you underneath here. That color would still even work for my under eye and would not be too dark because you're using such a small amount. And when you use a small amount of corrector like this, you actually wind up using less concealer. And remember, the smallest amount underneath the eye is always your best bet. So we do want to make sure that this is completely thin underneath the eye or anywhere that we would want to correct. And then we also want to make sure that it dries down. Give it at least 10 seconds to dry down. And I am going to switch brushes, you'll see that in just a second, but let's make sure this side is nice and smooth. And it's really only focused where I would have the darkness. I don't really want it to go any farther down than that. Switch brushes, we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. See how when they get blended out, there's barely a difference. For me, it just needs to have those peachy undertones. So we're gonna do L'Oreal foundation that matches matching. Wow, so nice. Shade is C5. I'm just gonna let this run because the match is perfect. The brush is brushing. The bin is disturbing. Isn't that match beautiful? Looks like I just put a filter on my skin. Don't forget your ears. And then I like to take it down my neck. Let's put a little more here. Just gonna let this run. It's relaxing to watch foundation blend. I love watching foundation blend. So I'm never here to tell you how much foundation to put on, but I am here to tell you to at least build. So I don't put a whole lot of foundation. I'm trying to find where there's not a glare. I don't put a whole lot of foundation on my forehead. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't. You might want a little bit more coverage there. But what I will say is the forehead is the place that it is best to build. So start with small amounts. Doesn't mean that you're not going to end up with more foundation than what I just put on, but definitely build, because I feel that we're very expressive through here. So let's try to put the smallest amount, just the smallest amount to you. Our amounts can be different, and it's still going to be right, but build. So I don't know who this is going to reach. And on my IG stories, we talk about this a whole lot, almost every day. See this leftover foundation? There is the tiniest amount on there. I need to work on how to let this focus. There we go. There's a little tappity tap. So you'll see that there's almost no foundation on that brush. What I like to do is I will take the tip of that brush now and just kind of run it through here to clean this up and melt everything together. Notice I'm not taking this beautiful plum away. I'm just kind of melting it into the foundation. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. I'm talking just minuscule amount, and then we'll tap it all the way over this way. That way it melts in over here too. Go all the way around. I'm gonna go a little bit lighter with my concealer since we have that corrector underneath there to balance it. If we didn't have the corrector, once we start to blend a concealer that might be too light, or if we're wanting to do a very brightening look, it could turn very gray and we could just end up with more shadowing underneath our eyes. So that corrector under there lets me go a little bit lighter for that really bright under eye look. By the way, this is the Natasha Denona concealer, and the shade I'm using is RN3. And if you're wondering, well, you're putting it through the center of your face and it's light. Listen, what's happening here is that these lashes, and really anything, even my eye socket, it's going to cast shadow. And the reason why is because it goes in. We're humans, it's what happens. But you can see that all of this right through the center, all of that's poking out. So it's okay to go lighter there. We don't have to worry about balancing shadows because there are no shadows. Now let's start to blend out our concealer. There's that cat. He's a snoring boy. And he loves to be in here and lay in his little bed while I do my makeup. Okay, so we're gonna blend this. Kind of do a rough blend, and then I'm gonna grab our foundation brush and then I soften the edges. So what I did was I blended with the small brush first, and then I'll go around all of these edges, and then I'll melt the concealer into the foundation. Remember how it was all through here? I'm just gonna go around it. Just melt in all those edges. So we did our Givenchy powder. I already have it on. I filmed a quick little video, but y'all have seen the Givenchy powder now. I don't even know how many years I've been using it. Let's definitely say since 2000 and I'll say early 2018. I want to say 2017, but we'll say 2018. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish the eye, and I don't want to have any fallout. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that very tacky wet base, and I'm going to place that pretty close to the lash line with an E26. Back into that dark plum. What that base is going to do is make sure that it's grabbing it and that we don't have fallout. Also make sure that we're pressing and not swiping. Here's my hand over here. I'm very focused. Let's go ahead and connect it. And then we'll tap it out a little more with a different brush. Now we're going to switch to a little bit fluffier brush, and we're going to grab this color, 2 taps on the tip of the brush. Still not going to swipe. I'm just going to look up and soften these edges and then start to soften them over this way as well. I didn't really want that harsh of a line. I want it to kind of fade into the foundation. Yes. All right, listen. If you're more fair and bronzers tend to turn orange on you, y'all are going to like this. This is from Jones Road. The color is Dusty Rose. Y'all are gonna like this. Totally don't need to do this, but I did want to add just a smidge more depth. You'll see that this one is still very red as well, but it's a little bit darker. This one's from Mob Beauty. This is my all-time favorite bronzer, even more than the Gucci now. Y'all notice I haven't used that in 100 years. So what I'm doing is I'm just gonna add a little bit more. See how I'm just kind of chiseling a little bit, still not contouring because there's still too much warmth, but we're definitely adding a little bit more depth. Ooh, I love this. How pretty is this? I bought this. This is from Maven Beauty, and I bought it because the formula sounded very interesting. It's very soft. The shade is called Plush. We're just gonna hop right in. You'll know how I feel about emblems. They really kind of mess with pickup. It's my cross to bear. Ooh, that's very pretty. And it kind of leans itself toward right here, this undertone that we got going on there. That's beautiful. Oh, look how pretty the formula is. Okay. Sometimes I will never understand why certain things go viral and then things like this are just like ignored. This is a beautiful formula. I'm excited. I bought a few of them and there's so many different shades. I'm excited. Now before we move on to lips, let's grab this shade and we'll make this our inner corner. That's really pretty. Let's go on a lip journey. I'm gonna do this Fenty Beauty stain. Okay, but it's a journey. We're not gonna end with this. We're still gonna do a lip liner and probably a gloss. Let's put this on. I like that it's gonna match these tones. Now we're just gonna blot it off. June. He just yawned. Ooh, that's gonna be pretty. Okay. Now let's line. This is Natasha Denona lip liner in the shade Luna. By the way, I forgot to mention this is a palette. This is the summer collection from Fenty Beauty and the shade is Gem and I. Super cute. Now we're gonna top that with a kind of see-through gloss. You're still gonna be able to see through it. This is Divine Aura from Queen Cosmetics. Oh yeah, that's the spice I was going for. Ooh, that's pretty. Oh my gosh. Queen Cosmetics never misses. All right, friends, that is the end of the tutorial. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks for coming over here to YouTube as well. We're still over there on IG, we're on TikTok, but we might as well be over here too. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. I hope it was better quality. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see where we end up. We're on this makeup journey together. I love you so much, and I will see you in the comments here and on IG and on TikTok and in my DMs. Oh, I'll just see ya. Love you.